Yeah.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Ala's World of Finance and welcome to Stock Market Daily. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I've got a few things to talk about today. By the way, I'm actually re-recording this video because I uploaded it earlier and there was like a glitch with it, so I had to take it down and re-record it. So I apologize for that. And this video was meant for Friday, but now it's going to be uploaded Saturday morning. But nothing's changed, so we can still talk about these stocks anyway, so it's not a big deal. But the stocks that I want to talk about are Chipotle, General Electric, and Nintendo. And the reason I want to talk about these is because Chipotle is actually performing really bad this week, and they've had some really negative press, so I want to talk about that. I also want to talk to you guys about General Electric, GE, which is one of my favorite energy stocks. And I want to talk about them because they announced their earnings, and they weren't that great, and so they kind of dipped a little bit. And I also want to talk about Nintendo because Splatoon 2 just came out for Nintendo, for the Nintendo Switch, and their sales are looking like really strong. And on Amazon, looks like Nintendo is doing really well also. So I just want to talk about that a little bit as well. So anyway, let's go ahead and, and by the way, before I get started, the poll question is still going on for what is your favorite gaming stock? And you have 3 options, so you can just leave a comment below. You can vote in this video or the previous one, but the question is what is your favorite gaming stock? And there's 3 options. There's EA, Activision Blizzard, and Take-Two Interactive Software. And so if you want to vote for one of those, you can just leave a comment below and just give me your vote, and I'll give the results in a later video for the Allah's World consensus. So anyway, that's besides the point. So let's go ahead and get started here, and let's look at Chipotle. Okay, so looking at Chipotle stock here, we can see that year to date they're down over 8%. On Monday they were down 0.97%. On Tuesday they were down a massive 4.34%. Wednesday down 0.57%, Thursday down another big drop at 4.5%, and then on Friday down another big drop, 3.26%. So their 5-day change is negative 12.76%. So a massive drop here for Chipotle stock. And we can see that on Friday they reached their 52-week low, and I believe that was at $344.21. Now, why are they dropping so much? Well, we know that Chipotle has experienced some negative press in the past having to do with sanitary conditions and things like that. Well, in 2015, they had the whole E. coli situation, so that was kind of a safety concern. So that was bad. So any kind of negative like safety or sanitary or that kind of press for them going forward is going to be very significant for Chipotle. So what happened here? Well, when looking at it here, the public health officials confirmed that a customer at a Chipotle location in Sterling, Virginia is ill with the norovirus. And they also cited some sources here. They cited some information from the crowdsourcing website iwaspoisoned.com, and that showed that over 100 customers at that location also fell ill. So if that wasn't bad enough, like that's already like massively bad, but if that wasn't bad enough, in the same week, customers complained that a Dallas location had rats falling from the ceiling. That is horrible, guys. This is like really bad press. Now, I personally, I have never really eaten at Chipotle, and so I wasn't really too much involved in the whole like E. coli situation in 2015. I wasn't really paying much attention to it. I actually used to look for little like Mexican restaurants around the corner and stuff that had like bigger portions and cheaper prices, and like I really liked some of those. One that I actually really liked was one that was called Los Primos, and they had I believe they still have a burrito that's called the Mr. Serious, and that burrito I believe is over 2 pounds. It's like a massive burrito, and I just remember my friend trying to eat that, and I believe he threw up. But I don't mean to paint that picture for you guys, so I'm sorry, but I actually did eat one, and I finished it and everything, and eventually they started taking pictures of people who like finished the burrito, and I got my picture up on the wall and stuff. But anyway, I don't mean to go off track, but I don't really eat at Chipotle much, so this stuff kind of doesn't concern me too much. But when looking at this negative press here that really affected Chipotle stock, we see here an analyst from Maxim Group, so Stefan Anderson, he's talking about this, and he's kind of saying how the whole thing happening was just kind of random chance. And he says Chipotle is under the microscope quite literally because of the food issues they've had in the past. But barring anything much more significant, I think we find a bottom soon and the stock does recover. So that's very interesting. I can kind of see where he's coming from, because if you think about it, okay, like rats falling from the ceiling, like that's got to be a very isolated event, right? This happened in Dallas, Texas. That shouldn't affect all the other Chipotles everywhere else, right? I mean, this shouldn't even affect other Chipotles in Dallas, Texas, or in the rest of Texas, or in California, or in any other state, or wherever. It shouldn't really affect it. It's more of an isolated event. And when we look at some reports here, you will see that they actually talk about it here. A Chipotle spokesperson said that this was a small structural gap in the building where the rodents likely entered, and they said that this is being repaired. And then additionally, they say the spokesperson said, we reached out to the customer to make things right. And then it looks like a customer talked to NBC, and this customer said that she says she was happy with how the employees handled the situation, but would likely not return to the restaurant. And it's like, yeah, like no kidding, right? Like if like rats are falling from the ceiling, like you're definitely not going to return to the restaurant. But anyway, the point is that this is an isolated event. So I think that Chipotle could recover from this. Now, there is another analyst that I want to cite here. This one is from Patriarch Equity, and he says, if it had happened at any other brand, it's a non-story. But if it happens at Chipotle, it's a mortal wound. He says here, given Chipotle's multi-state E. coli outbreak in 2015, and then he says this brand is a perfect candidate for a name change. You can only have so many hotbeds of evil themes that can happen to a brand and not create a seismic shift in public perception. So that's more on the bearish side, right? Like that's true. You're gonna have a lot of people remembering everything with E. coli, and now you're having rats falling from ceilings. Like, I don't know if people are gonna keep like going to Chipotle. So if I was invested in Chipotle, I'd be worried about the public perception, and I'd be worried about sales dropping. But if I'm not invested in Chipotle and I'm looking to invest in Chipotle, this actually could be a really good thing, because this provided a very nice drop and possibly a really good entry point. And if like that other analyst said that this will bottom out and that they'll kind of start bouncing back, then this could be a good investment. But I don't know. I'm not touching Chipotle because I don't invest in a company that I don't actually like use. If I don't use their product, or if I don't know their products like very well, then I usually don't invest in them if I don't really believe in it. And I don't really believe in Chipotle that much. I've always felt like they were kind of a little overpriced and stuff. But not that their food is bad quality or anything. Like I liked it when I did eat there, but I don't know, for the price and the portions, like I'm a big eater, so I like to get like a lot of food for my money. But anyway, I'm going off on a huge rant, and you guys are probably sick of hearing me talking about this. But the point is that I'm not investing in Chipotle, but I'm very curious if any of you guys are investing in Chipotle, and if you're taking advantage of this dip here. So if you are interested, there's a very nice dip, possibly an entry point for you. So next up, let's talk about General Electric. On Monday, they were up 0.15%. Tuesday, they were green. Wednesday, they were green. Thursday, they were down 0.93%. And then Friday, they were down 2.96%. So their 5-day change is negative 3.25%. Now, if you look at them year to date, they're also down over 18%. And when looking at their stock here, so why did they dip on Friday even more? So when looking at it, GE reported their second quarter earnings, and they posted earnings per share of 28 cents, which actually beat estimates of 25 cents. And then revenue, they announced revenue at 29.56 billion, which actually beat estimates of 29.02 billion. So they beat revenue and they beat earnings per share. So like, what's the problem? Okay, well, if you look at it year over year, there is a problem, because EPS declined from 51 cents in the prior year quarter, and then revenue declined 12%. Okay, year over year. So that is basically what hurt them. And when looking at it here, it says that GE attributed the decline in revenue to weakness in its energy connections business, which offset the strong performance in the renewable energy and power segment. So that's still important, because GE has invested a lot of money into the renewable energy segment, and so they're performing well there, so that's good. And they're also doing a lot of good stuff with healthcare and stuff like that. So I still like GE, but this performance just wasn't that great. Now, when looking at their cash flow from operations, they reported 3.6 billion, which is a 67% decline from a year earlier. But you have to keep in mind that this was a result of the divestment of its appliances division, which it sold to Higher Electronics for 5.6 billion in 2016. So that kind of explains that. Now, the chairman and CEO, Jeff Immelt, he said, he talked about cash flow. He said that they expect cash flow to increase in the remainder of the year. And then he also said, we've reduced our industrial structural costs year to date by 670 million. and we are on track to meet or exceed our $1 billion cost reduction target for the year. By the way, let me just say this. Yeah, GE has been focusing a lot on cost cutting, so this is kind of good. So they had really good performance from their cost cutting. They saved a lot of money, and they had really good performance from their renewable energy and their power segments. Okay, so that's still good. That's still positive stuff. So let's keep reading here. He says, the global scale of the company, along with our ability to innovate in industry-leading products and services, will help us navigate the current environment and unlock productivity across our businesses and markets. Okay, now when looking at guidance, they did not provide guidance for the 2018 outlook. They'll be expecting that later on, but the company did say that its full year guidance for 2017 for cash flow, profit, revenue, and operating margin is still the same and has not basically has not changed. So we'll have to see how they perform later on. Now, just so you guys know, another reason why I like GE is because they pay a very nice dividend, and it looks like their dividend yield here, where is it at? It's 3.67%. So that's another reason why I like them. And if you look at the weekly chart for General Electric, you can see that it's negative, but it is oversold, and the stock is below the 5-week modified moving average, and the stock is also below the 200-week simple moving average. Okay, so that's GE. Now let's take a look at Nintendo. So I want to talk about Nintendo because, like I said before, Splatoon 2 just got released, and it actually made the Switch eShop crash. So that's the eShop for the Nintendo Switch, like the online store. And we've seen great sales from Zelda Breath of the Wild and Mario Kart, and I don't remember those crashing the eShop, but it looks like this one made a crash, and so it has to be selling pretty significantly. And maybe not to the level of Zelda and Mario Kart, because those sold very well, but it's got to still be selling pretty well to make the eShop crash. So look at this report here. It says, the Switch eShop, for all intents and purposes, seems to be down for the time being. Nintendo is being hit with a wave of customers eager to buy Splatoon 2. And it sent the eShop into a dizzying downward spiral. Hopefully the issues will work itself out, blah, blah, blah. That's like the rest of the article. But anyway, the point is that this game, Splatoon 2, a game for the Nintendo Switch, basically made the eShop crash. So it has to be selling very well. Now, if we look at the top 20 best sellers on Amazon in video games, usually those are led by the PlayStation Network cards, the PSN cards, because people don't want to put their personal information into PlayStation because there's been theft and stuff that's happened before. But when looking at it here, those PSN cards are usually at the top, and they never get passed by like a console. I don't ever see them get passed by like a console, especially. But looking at the best sellers here, number 1 is a Nintendo Amiibo. Number 2 is a Nintendo Switch console, which, by the way, hasn't even really been available, and it's jacked up the price by $100, like whoever this reseller is. And so it's like $400 here when it's normally supposed to be $300. But I did hear that production has increased, so it is possible that maybe they got more in stock or something, and that helped raise the sales of it. But still, it's still very significant. So number 2, Nintendo Switch. Number 3 is Splatoon 2, so very significant. And then finally, number 4, you have a PSN card. Then number 5, you have another Nintendo Amiibo, actually for Splatoon 2, it looks like. And then number 6, you have a PSN card. Then you go number 7, Nintendo Amiibo. Number 8, Nintendo Amiibo. Number 9, Nintendo Amiibo. Number 10, Nintendo Amiibo. Number 11, it looks like another version of Splatoon 2, probably a download code or something like that. And then number 12, another Amiibo. And then number 13, another PSN card. Number 14 is Zelda again, which Zelda has just kept selling very well, and it launched like a while ago. And then 15 is another PSN card. 16 is a PlayStation game. 17 is Mario Kart, which also sold extremely well. And then number 18 is a PSN card. 19 is Super Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch, which is a pre-order. And then number 20 is an Xbox controller. So the point is that we're seeing some really strong sales here. So if you haven't been bullish on Nintendo, I don't know why you're not bullish on Nintendo. I mean, it looks like they're selling extremely well. Now, something that I am worried about is the upcoming earnings report, because this earnings report is going to have to factor in a lot of shortages. Like, they've been experiencing shortages with the Nintendo Switch, and it's been in such high demand, but there's shortages here. And what I'm afraid of is that investors and analysts who don't really know much about gaming and don't really know much about this industry, I'm scared that they're gonna like panic and they're not gonna understand that there's a shortage going on and that the Switch is actually in high demand. And so if we don't see like really strong numbers, I could see a lot of investors like just profit taking and just selling out, and then that could cause the stock to go down. Another thing that I'm worried about is that the Nintendo Online application for like online gaming and stuff. It just got released also with Splatoon 2, and the reviews are horrible because basically you have to have the application open and the screen on, and you can't like navigate to other apps and still be like chatting at the same time. So it'll basically drain your battery because you're gonna have to leave your phone on all the time constantly on that application. And the Nintendo Switch is supposed to be portable, so I'm not really liking these ideas where you're gonna have to be carrying a battery for the Nintendo Switch and for your cell phone, hoping that they both don't die. But there's a lot of negative press right now on that stuff, so that's another thing that scares me at the moment. Now, long term, I'm a long term investor, so long term I'm not worried because I know that like next year Pokemon's coming out and different things that are in holiday season will do very well for the Switch, and whenever Virtual Console comes out, that'll also help. But at the moment, I kind of feel like I'm tempted to sell some of my Nintendo stock, not all of it, but maybe like half of it. And in case that the earnings report comes out and it's negative and then the stock dips, and that way I could save a lot of money and I could buy back in at a lower price. So it's not that I would be like abandoning Nintendo, but it would be more of like me just getting out, waiting for the earnings report, and then getting back in at a lower price, and that way I could save a lot of money. So I'm considering that. I'm not saying that I'm going to do it, but if any of you guys are invested in Nintendo, I would love to hear your opinion on that, because this earnings report is actually concerning a lot of people, and a lot of people are talking about it. So we'll have to see what happens. It's next week, the earnings report. I think it's on Wednesday, and I will definitely keep you guys posted on that. So anyway, looking at Nintendo stock here, Monday was red like 1%, Tuesday was up like 3.48%, Wednesday was up 2.82%, and then Thursday it was down about 1%, and then Friday it came back up 0.43%, up almost 5% for the week, and then year to date they're up over 60%. So their stock is still doing very well, but we'll have to see what happens. Now keep in mind, next week Google is announcing earnings, Amazon is announcing earnings, and Facebook as well, and then AMD, I think that's on Tuesday, and I will definitely keep you guys posted on AMD because that's going to be like one of the most interesting earning calls that I'll ever be a part of. I'm really interested to see like what happens with AMD, and I'm really interested to see what happens with Nintendo. So I will absolutely keep you guys posted. So make sure you're subscribed. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Sorry that it got posted on Saturday instead of Friday. I apologize for that, but I hope that you enjoyed it nonetheless. And if you're new, please subscribe. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. And if you watched the video all the way through to this very moment in time, then I'm going to say that you are Nintendo on Amazon. You're just selling like crazy. You're taking over the charts. And PSN cards, they got nothing on you guys. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you all have a wonderful, beautiful day, and that you all take care.